a trend.
Yeah.
We're forever a part of the culture. HBCU Pulse always has you on lock. From the shade room to your favorite news feed, and now on your TV and radio. We are the #1 outlet for HBCU culture. Follow HBCU Pulse on social media and visit hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community.
What's going on, everybody? This is Randall Barnes, the founder of HBCU Pulse and the host of HBCU Pulse Radio, in the building for another special edition of the show on today. Well, listen, we are here. We are promoting the HBCU experience, the HBCU Royal University Kings second edition. Kings in the building. I've not been doing these interviews for a minute. Destiny's been holding it down, doing an amazing job, but I had to step in real quick because I can't let the Kings have a book and I don't do an interview or two. Now, I got my guy coming up, like my guy Damyr Moore, who was a student leader when I was a student leader, Miss Tennessee State 2019-2020. That's going to be at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. But I got Mr. Reggie Cool Mill Shareef. Cool Mill. That's a nickname in the building. We're going to go on and bring him up right now for Miss Tennessee State. We got her right now. How you doing, sir? Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Gotta unmute yourself. Let me see if I can. Okay, I can't unmute you. I can't unmute you. But I'm not. But I like the jacket though. Like that's that College Lux jacket though. I could tell. I can tell that's that College Lux jacket. So if you look down, if you're on the computer, it says unmute and mute right there. It's like a bar. It's like a bar right there. So you can't hear me? You can't hear me? Okay. So it's only the mute. So it's only like you're still on mute. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to play our intro again really quickly, and then we're going to figure out what's going on because we got to hear Mr. Cool Mill in the building from Miss Tennessee State. So we're going to put the intro on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to type to you in our private chat, and we're going to figure this out, all right? Check. Uh-oh. I heard something. We here?
Check.
Yeah, you here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my brother.
Listen, we hear technical difficulties like the day I'm interviewing. Technical difficulties. Ain't that something?
That just tells us that this is going to be a beautiful experience, right? Challenges or opportunities in dress clothes.
Hey, that's true. And listen, you got it. You got the Letterman jacket together, the hat. Listen, I see why they call you Cool Mill. I see. Okay, the logo on the back. I see you. We making it happen.
We ain't gonna play with it.
We making it happen. Oh yeah, I love it. So let's really go on and get started. So former Mr. Tennessee State, 1998, 1999. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So hello world. It's your boy, Cool Mill is what I go by, but my name is Reggie Shareef, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised. Left Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to come to Tennessee State University to study software engineering on an honors program scholarship, and done some amazing things since then. But what I really am is a retired technology executive. I worked at some of the top corporations in the world, so we can talk about that today. One of them being Lockheed Martin, one of them being Microsoft. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I have a bunch of different businesses that I've worked on or established in the past, one being a consulting practice, another one being a real estate business. I'm a philanthropist, so also run a philanthropy organization called the Edge Foundation. And then I'm an entertainer, so I do progressive hip hop. And then within that, I also do film. So I'm a filmmaker as well. And I can't, be remiss without saying that I'm also the most important thing that I am is a father and a husband. So complicated individual that's done a lot of things, but that's why I have this gray beard. So
I love it. I love it. Listen, you got a lot of amazing things that you're doing, a lot of great things going on, but it all starts at Tennessee State. So I want to ask you, what made you choose Tennessee State as your HBCU?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I was in high school. I was always a smart kid, but I had bad behavior problems. And in Pittsburgh, in my high school, Westinghouse High School, big up to Pittsburgh, we would have a college tour, and they would take students on that tour that were smart, but that also exemplified great behavior. Well, I wasn't that student that exemplified that great behavior. So they would not allow me to go on this college tour. So I ended up having to consult my father, and he said, all right, I'm going to take you and your sister on our own college tour, and we're going to take a trip from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we're going to go all the way down from Pittsburgh to Florida. So we did this college tour. We reviewed 30 colleges. And some of my top choices through that experience was Virginia State, Florida A&M University, FAMU, Howard, and University of Virginia. Like those were like my favorites out of all of those schools. And then we pulled up on the yard of Tennessee State University. We stepped out the car. I looked around. I just looked. The people looked at me. I was like, you know what? Like, this is home. Like, when you feel grounded, there's a term that people call grounding, when you take off your shoes and you let your feet hit the ground so you can feel what it's like to get the electricity from the pavement into your body and into your system. That's how it felt when I stepped on the campus of Tennessee State. And it was over from then. I knew at that moment that this would be my school of choice. So the rest was history after that. It was TSU from then on and forevermore.
So let's talk about that history. Because listen, you were Mr. Tennessee State in 1988 and 1999. So that means like you were at Tennessee State. It's going to be crazy. Like I was born Christmas Day 1996. So you were at Tennessee State, when I wasn't even born, or when I was about to be born. So listen, like I got to hear the time period. I got to hear what was going on in the late 90s at Tennessee State. So we're going to walk through year by year, starting with freshman year. What was freshman year like for you?
Man, so freshman year, you got to think about what was happening in 1995 during my freshman year. This is like the time of outcasts, my brother. Like the South was putting their feet and their foot on the map. This was the time when you had like the Southern movement of hip hop as well on the map with your 666 Mafias and your 8 Ball and MJGs. This was at the rise of your Redman and your Method Man. So being a music person connoisseur, this was like the fusion of what that experience was about. So music was heavily very important stepping on stage at Tennessee State as a freshman. So the backdrop was music. So that already makes the backdrop lit. It makes it fun. You got Southern playalistic. So everybody wanting to be a player, all of those things. Of course, I wasn't trying to be a player. I was just trying to be a good student. So I stepped on the yard, freshman week, and I met 10 of the most amazing individuals that I've ever would have thought to have met, when I stepped on the yard. And we formed a bond and a brotherhood organization. We ended up 6 of us, and then it was like 4 women. We ended up forming a brotherhood organization our freshman year that was called the Wan Clique. And the Wan Clique stood for Willingly Uniting All Newcomers. So this was essentially a freshman fraternity that we established on campus. And this was one of the first times we realized, after getting into lots of beef, as you can imagine, with the Greek system on the yard, we realized that this had never happened at the school, let alone like at an HBCU where you had a real legit organization of some dope dudes trying to found an organization. So I stepped on that yard as a freshman coming from Pittsburgh with my Pittsburgh swagger. I'm coming from an area in my neighborhood that was pretty rough and real. So blue was our color. So Tennessee State was always, our flavor. And then we end up clicking up with these brothers that were from Chicago, from Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, and formed that organization. And that brotherhood, sustained me throughout my freshman year. And then, of course, the education and the knowledge and everything else as well. But my freshman year, I would say, is decorated by establishing that brotherhood organization. Because, once you find your tribe on an HBCU campus, like that's the number one thing that you want to do. Once you do that and you find your brothers and the people that got your back and that's going to ride for you, everything else at that point becomes a lot easier, because you're in a crew of folks that really got your back and that'll do anything for you. So my freshman year was decorated as a computer science student coming from Homewood, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, rocking my blue, clicking up with people that rock their other affiliations, and really establishing a bond and a unit that would last, for a long time, let's just say.
Wow. So you said like that, starting that brotherhood organization, the Greeks weren't feeling it. So what was going on with that?
So you can imagine, so when you understand the Greek system is I will say it preys, but it benefits off of the energy and electricity from freshmen. So the target for a lot of fraternities, and specifically a lot of sororities, they want to reach that freshman group, because you want to get early adoption within your organization. And once they like you, then you will hope that you can cherry pick from the people that are pretty good within that organization. So the real reality is that we were somewhat of a threat, because we literally had our own signs, we had our own jersey, we had our own chants, we had our own steps, we had our own everything. And we were not trying to emulate a fraternity at all. We were just real brothers that was doing, what we knew from our backgrounds, coming into college. So that experience was a threat to the Greek organizations. And we ended up having, a nice little spat for several years with some of the organizations, because they didn't know what to do with the One Click. They're like, you can't step at our party. And we're like, what are you talking about? You must be crazy. They're like, you can't be talking to, all of the freshman ladies. And it's like, why not? They're in our class. That's our group. That's our crew. So we ended up forming a sister organization that was called Lilas, which is called Love You Like a Sister. And we were like, locked at the hip, for a long time. So to summarize that, yes, the Greek system did not like another brotherhood organization coming on campus, trying to take their territory. But we were some real brothers, and we didn't fold to that system. And that created a little bit of tension that eventually resolved itself through some fun interactions, if I would say.
So listen, so normally towards the end of the interview, I ask about the chapter and all that. We're gonna get to that. There's a whole lot of interviews left, but I just got to ask this one simple question: do you write about that in this book? Is that in there?
I only mention the organization. People that know about Tennessee State for the longevity of the One Click being in existence, I'm gonna ask my people to chime in, because they'll tell you, the kind of brothers that we are. So I mention it in the book about forming this brotherhood organization that transformed my life to turn me into the leader and the person that I am today.
Hey, listen, we need you in the third edition. Then we need that. We need that. Cause I need a movie. We need the audio. I was just audio book before I came on. We need the audio book, because that sounds like a mini series on Max. Okay, they need it. Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you what it is, and it's a shameless plug. I'm doing a docuseries on my life, and the second episode of that docuseries is about HBCU pride and about the HBCU experience in totality. And then it goes into my experience at Tennessee State University, and the One Click is a key portion of that episode within that documentary that'll be coming out. And I would love for everybody to see it. It's called HBCU Pride. It's not TS Me, it's TSU. So it's in there, and then a drip is in the book.
All right. Good. Listen, we gonna go check it out because the freshman year started off lit. Like you come on, you create your own clique, and the Greeks didn't like it. So you got to tell me about sophomore year. So what was sophomore year like? Like, did it calm down a little bit? Was it still like sort of hype?
No. So sophomore year, you can imagine. So the clique went from 6 brothers to 10 brothers to 25 brothers from all of these different cities. And we actually had more members in our organization than anybody else on the yard, any other fraternity that was on the yard. So we were really a big experience, a big deal. So we had the one click going, and I can't be remiss without talking about the scholarship aspect of my experience. So I joined the computer science club like my sophomore year, Pittsburgh club, and then I started to get more ingrained into figuring out, what is it like to really be a leader on this campus as well. And then I was in the honors program, like I mentioned. So, our scholastics are a little elevated. Our programs, our classes were rougher, and we had to spend a lot more time in the books than we needed to. So I got out of the freshman year with a 3.5, 3.8 GPA, and then I came into my sophomore year, really on a high. And the grades and the scholarship continue. And then the fun, of course, is always, I see as always a valuable thing. It always balanced me out as well. So I would go to class, I would ace all my studies. And then after that last class, and we all know I didn't take classes on Friday. I took my Tuesdays and Thursdays and Mondays and Wednesdays only when I had to, because at Tennessee State University at 12 o'clock, the campus and the student center is lit, and we got that music in the courtyard, and we got all of that that's going on, and you're not going to want to go to class after that. So anyway, the scholarship was there, and then the fun was there. So that balance was always very important to me, and that balance is what I've coined and patterned my whole entire life after, which is called "It's cool to be smart." So I think it's valuable to be a smart human being, and I think it's just as valuable to be somebody that's cool as well.
I love it. Listen, like cool is what you're exhibiting when it comes to your Tennessee State experience. So I know junior year for me, everybody says freshman year. When I do these interviews, they say freshman year is that time for them. But for me, and I always say it was junior year for me. Like junior year is when things really took off. So what was junior year like for you?
Yeah, so junior year, that's when it really became real. So I established myself on campus as being somebody, as we just talked about, that was reliable, dependable, real, cool, and smart. So when you do that, that kind of sets you up and puts you in position to be, somebody that people know on campus. So I would say the popularity at that point for me and who I am and who I represented, it really, really grew at that time. So the junior year, I mean, that's the year when it's like, you know what? Let me evaluate and see what the best position is on the yard that is the most popular, that's the most cool, that's the most fun, that has the most respect and appreciation amongst the male population. And that's none other than the reason why we're talking today, which is about being a king. So I was born to be a king. I knew I wanted to be a king. And that next step was just that. So what would I do? I got together with the one click, my crew, my brothers, and all the rest of the people in my tribe. And we said, let's see what we can do, to have what we call world domination, which was how can we do some amazing things on the yard that are very special. And that's what the Mr. TSU thing was about. So I was like, let me go do this Mr. TSU thing. So I ran for Mr. TSU, and the rest is history. I became Mr. Tennessee State University, 98, 99. I think I'm the 7th king. And that experience after that, as you can imagine, was some of the most important and valuable experiences in my entire life on the yard. And I'm about to blow you away. You're gonna be tripping. Oh, you'll be tripping, right? Because check this out. And I told you how long that was. Okay?
Yeah. Oh
so,
man,
look, the sash is even crooked, like it's coming off. That's how long it's been. You see what I mean? Like boom, like boom, like boom.
What?
Yeah, still got
it? Wow, you still got it.
Still got it. So
that's crazy because people lose that. They'll lose it.
No, I'm not going to lose this. Like I said, never touched it So you got the stuff coming off a little bit, but I traded in my crown for my fedora. So that's why a king wears a garb, a head, something to cover his head because the world is heavy. So that's why I moved from the crown to the fedora, if you feel me.
I feel it. I feel that. So we're going to talk about, you got the crown over there. We're going to talk about just the aspect of being Mr. Tennessee State. But I think this is interesting about just the vibe of elections at that time, right? So nowadays, and I've done election consulting, I've done it ever since 2019, and I had to do it during COVID. So COVID was such a different experience from even the earlier times before COVID, when I saw elections at other schools like FAMU and Tennessee State and my HBCU Fort Valley. Mm-hmm. So now it's so different because it's very showy. It's all about how the graphics look. It's about fancy videos. Now you have the TikTok doing TikTok dances and hey, go vote for me. Like, what was it like back in the late 90s when it came to campaigning for an HBCU position such as Mr. Tennessee State?
I'll use one word, man. It was respect, and it was popularity, and it was a person that the students saw that would be their male representative. So you had to be a thorough person, you had to be about your business, and you had to be somebody that the campus respected. And this is men and women. So the brothers had to be like, you know what? I can see that brother right there, being the male representative for this university because I know he's going to handle his business. And I know when he goes out to represent us, that he's representing me. So that's when I actually found my superpower, which is my ability to relate to people from all walks of life. So anybody that met me, anybody that knew me, I really don't see stranger. There could be haters out there, and I try to, avoid that. But I make sure that I look folks in the eye. I make sure that I relate it to everybody around me. And that's the kind of person that you needed to be in order to be elected as Mr. Tennessee State University. So ours actually wasn't an election. It was, we had a pageant. So it wasn't an election process. We went from being a homecoming king kind of thing, which was just like popularity, and it was really a homecoming thing. And then that was kind of it. And then people recognize you as being a thorough person, but you didn't have to do programs. You didn't have to do anything on the yard, really. And then, the king before me, Stevan Hunter, he started to change the game. And he's like, I want to do a little bit more with this role. I don't just want it to be a popularity contest, but I want to do some programming. I want to do some other things around the yard. So I just built off that brother's legacy, to create my own legacy, which was, hey, let us turn up, let us have a good time, let us value an intelligent mind, and let us make sure that when we represent, that we're representing this university in the best light, from the way that we look, from the way that we talk, from the way that we act, and from the way that we handle ourselves and our business. So I took all of those things to heart when I became Mr. Tennessee State. And the crown of my campaign was all about this slogan. And it's crazy because people still come up to me today and they'll be like, I remember that slogan because, it's what my whole reign was about. And it's not TS me, it's TSU. So I made sure that it was not about me, that it was about every one of those other students that's walking down the hall, that's trying to get through class, that just got purged, that's need to do a work study to bring in some money, that came from a rough background, whatever it was. I needed to know and wanted those folks to know that it was about them and not me. So we had a really fun, good journey as my reign of really making sure that everybody was represented, seen, and heard.
Wow. So it is so many ways to segue from that. I want to talk about the senior year, but I want to say this. It's interesting that you said that before you and before the other king, you mentioned that the Mr. Tennessee State position was almost like a homecoming king, because that's the difference. I think oftentimes now when you have folks that aren't in the HBCU experience and they want to showcase like royal court life, they'll make it seem as if that Mr. and Miss is a homecoming king or queen, when it's literally an extension of SGA. At a lot of schools, royal court is SGA. But even if it's not SGA, it's an extension of that, because that king and queen are student representatives. So I think that's very interesting, you saying that. And that makes me think a little bit about media depiction about royal court life at that time, such as drumline, which I always bring up in these interviews. But
Yep.
nevertheless, that's a whole different conversation, because we can talk about drumline for the rest of this interview. But I want to get to your senior year. So senior year, you're Mr. Tennessee State. You gave the delineation. It wasn't you were like a homecoming king. You just wave at homecoming, then you're done. You actually put in work throughout the year. So what was that experience like?
Yeah. So after King, you realize that your mission. I realized that my mission was more than just me, as I talked about, and that I was somebody that was actually valued, appreciated, liked, and respected. But most importantly, for my leadership skills, but for my ability to be cool and for my ability to be smart. So I was not done with my contributions to Tennessee State. So anybody to tell you, like my experience at TSU, I did any and everything on that yard. I left every ounce of me on the field every single year. So the next role that was the most important role, in my opinion, on the campus is the Student Government Association president role. So while I was Mr. Tennessee State, we were one of the first, courts to really work towards integrating the Student Government Association with the SGA and integrating the king with the queen. So traditionally, you do the homecoming thing and that's it. And then the queen would parachute around being so amazing for the rest of the year. And then, the king may accompany them and things of that nature. So I had Lady Tiara Wilson as my queen. And then I also had another queen, Michelle Robinson, which was two of the most phenomenal women on the campus at that time, like really true queens. And we had a great relationship that we ended up building with the president of the university, which is Dr. James Hefner. So he appreciated us, rest in heaven to Dr. Hefner. He appreciated us so much that he parachuted the king and the queen around as one unit, as one team. So we traveled the world, the country with the president, with Tennessee State. Anytime there was an opportunity to meet with political figures, to touch a microphone, to do whatever, he knew that we would deliver and that we will represent that school in the best way possible. So anyway, I say that to get to this next point. So I enjoyed the experience so much, enjoyed being a leader, that I wanted to go after the next role. So I went after the Student Government Association president role, and I actually won. But the crazy thing is that I won by default, because brother Bernard Johnson, who is also, a partner, he actually won, but he had a discrepancy. And then that discrepancy caused him, not to win. And the margin was pretty short from him winning and me losing, that they gave me a call. And I'm literally in my internship. I'm about to graduate in a half a year. And they said, you want to be SGA president because, you're next up. And I said, let me call you back. So, I counseled with the people that, meant a lot to me in my life. And I literally gave them a yes. And, that allowed me to take that triumph and turn it into to victory and become SGA president. And as SGA president, it was just lights out from there in regards to, representing this university in the best light. So I carried that same motto of it's not TS me, it's TSU into my student government reign. And we did some amazing things, from building new campuses on the yard to improving our food service on the campus. We made the SGA more accessible to the students. We represented Tennessee State University at their most critical point, which is called the stipulation of settlement, where you had the state was trying to literally make Tennessee State 50-50. So my administration, right, was the administration. I was at the courthouse basically saying, no, that ain't going to happen. So those are just some of some amazing things that we were able to accomplish as SGA president. So I did SGA. And then the last thing I wanted to do is turn my brotherhood organization into, what I would call, how can I bring my brotherly skills to a national, global level? So I then was a charter founder for Iota Phi Theta fraternity on the campus of Tennessee State University. So our amazing men, 10 brothers, Armageddon 10 brought Iota Phi Theta as a charter chapter, Delta Beta, to Tennessee State University. So that was my last year, was literally, being a president and also, being a leader, within a fraternal organization on campus. It was really, really special.
Wow, like I saw you got a documentary now. Like you went from Mr. Tennessee State, then you were SGA president, which within itself, even to this day, that's legendary amongst all HBCUs because typically when you run for a position such as Mr. or Miss, you're normally a senior. Now, sometimes you have like a sophomore that'll run, but every school doesn't require that because you have a credit requirement. So every school isn't like, hey, you can run as a rising junior. So typically you have the folks that their senior year, that's their position. But sometimes you got the folks that either have like an extra semester or two that they're doing, or they're that rising junior. Then they win that queen position. Then they go into SGA president or vice versa. Like I have one of those that did that. Maya Schofield at Benedict. She did that. She was SGA president. Then she was Miss Benedict. We did. I was like, can't think about it. So like, so
you're a real one.
I know that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask this. So like, how did that responsibility of you starting the organization your freshman year to what you did as Mr. Tennessee State and SGA president, like how do you think that those experiences shaped you into the man you are today?
Yeah, so I'll tell anybody, I found my God-given gift at Tennessee State University, which has become, my mantra today, which is essentially, it's just one word. And that one word is understanding. And I say it's the ability to understand the nouns of life, like the people, the places, and the things. And I learned that on the campus of Tennessee State University. So I live to live for my mantra, and I'll share it with you because that feeds into this part of the conversation. But my mantra is to be real, seek understanding, and make a difference. And REAL is actually an acronym that stands for relate to others, pursue excellence in everything that I do, maintain a positive attitude, live a life I can be proud of, learn as much as I can, and love unconditionally. So I learned that in those principles and who I was as a man through all of those things that I developed on the campus of Tennessee State University as a leader. And that fed into my life that I live today. So I owe everything about who I am as the professional and the person I am today from those experiences on the yard.
I love that. Listen, you got a lot of quotables. Like I can tell you, like you be in your bag. You see your chapter. I know your chapter is gonna be lit because you got all the quotables, all the stories. Like first you was beef with the Greeks, so you became Greek. Like, listen, Stomp the Yard, 1999. Okay, like that's what we need to call it. All right, like in Will Packer had Chocolate City back in the 90s. No, it was your story. Okay, it was a biography. You started your story. All right, so listen, let's talk about your chapter of the book, The HBCU Experience, the HBCU Rural Kings, 2nd edition is coming out soon. So you got all this amazing stuff you talked about. Your chapter got it by half, the book 50-50. Okay, but tell us what your chapter is about in the book.
I mean, sharing is caring, but we also can't drip everything to you. But the beauty of what I would say my chapter in the book is about is it's a story like we're sharing and talking about today. It's a story of overcoming. It's a story of perseverance. It's a story of a kid coming from Homewood, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, one of the roughest neighborhoods, with a brilliant mind and an intelligent mind, and determining how do I make that transition right from boy to man. So it talks about that transition from boy to man. It talks about the importance of me growing up where people didn't really value, a brilliant mind. They didn't value being smart. They valued more so being cool. So I had the ability growing up to whereas they allowed me, the people in the neighborhood, to still be a smart guy, but to still also, be cool. So, I made it through and slipped through the cracks of some of the real crazy stuff that people could get into, because they're like, yo, this brother really has the skills and potential to get out of here. And they gave me a pass. The OGs in the hood gave me a pass for that. So I kind of talk about at least that experience, being born and raised in those environments, transitioning and what that transition was like. I talked about how Tennessee State and the organization and the corporation is what I consider colleges as how it shaped and groomed me. And then I talk about those leadership experiences that we just discussed and how each of those leadership experiences, developed me, made me a better person into who I am today. And the reason why I'm successful is because of that journey of going through all of those experiences, on the yard at TSU. So that's kind of what the whole, layup of the story is about in the book.
Listen, I love it. We're excited to read your chat because I know we're going to get some stories, okay? You got you a bunch of stories that I know, at least if one makes it in there, it makes it a must-read chapter. So listen, Reggie, Cool Mill, Shareef, I appreciate you for coming on. Before we go, you got a lot of stuff happening. So, tell us where we can find you on social media and also how we can support you and your upcoming documentary project. Like what can we do to support you?
Yeah, I appreciate that because as you hear, right, I've given my life to, this HBCU thing. So I really love it. I put every single day into it. So today I serve on the board for Tennessee State University Foundation Board. And then I'm also on the advisory board for Clark Atlanta University for their Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So those things are very valuable to me. But I retired from corporate America in June after a very successful executive career. So I can do what I'm telling you about now full time. And that's my movement. It's cool to be smart. So if you want to know where you can find me and the things that we're doing, we do education and entertainment programming. So we do workshops, we do motivational speaking all around the world. And then we have an entertainment business that includes filmmaking, and that includes a lot of things that do with music and film. So the music side of the equation, if you want to support me, I got a single out right now that's called HBCU Grad that we should be bumping like on the show right now, but that is fire. So you can find that on every streaming network called HBCU Grad, and you can Google or search Cool, COOLMILL. The second way that you can support me is supporting my Cool to Be Smart movement. So my website for that is cooltobesmart.com, COOLTOBE smart.com. And that has all of the different programming and all of the initiatives that we do there. And then every other thing we do is surrounded around Cool to Be Smart. So the Instagram is Cool to Be Smart. The Facebook is Cool to Be Smart. So you can find me there. And then the last piece, if you want to follow me personally and not the movement, you can follow Cool Millio. So COOLMILLYO.
I love it. I love it. Listen, we're going to tap in for sure. Reggie, Cool Mill, Shareef got the crown still from back in. He going to try to get. The crown. Look at that. Look at that. Still blue.
Still blue. It's still blue, bro. It's still velvet. It's beautiful. What is it, velvet?
Because like when stuff get old, it turns different colors. It's still blue.
It's still blue. I'm gonna leave you. Give me 30 seconds because I want to do the first verse real quick of HBCU Grad because everybody should relate to this. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
If you ain't go to my school, you're gonna hate on it because my HBCU is the greatest. Is I'm pro-black, but I'm not a racist. Is let's say I'm educated. Man, the case dismissed. I struggled at first, then I aced it. I didn't cheat. I might have copied and pasted it. I'm so hip, I get wasted it. Say I'm melanated. Man, I tasted it. I'm on the yard, but meet me at the caf. I'm a grub. I'm going to eat like I never had. But don't call me when I'm in my class because my professor's real. He might I might be broke, but I'm always fly. I blew my refund check because I'm that type of guy. So there's nothing else for me to do but to celebrate my HBCU TSU.
Hey, okay, bars, and clearly, folks blowing that refund check clearly is a situation that happened back in the 1990s too.
Clearly, we all blew that refund check. Some people ain't getting no refund check no more, but some of us blew that thing being stupid. But no, I appreciate it. Just having fun with you, brother, man. Thank you guys for this program and everything that you're doing. Everybody should go out and grab this book. I think it's going to be an amazing experience for people to read. I've been following everybody that's been interviewed so far, and these brothers are super duper dope. So thank y'all. I just want to say for the opportunity today.
No problem, no problem. Listen, Reggie Cool Mill, Shareef, we appreciate you. And like I said, we cannot wait to read your chapter in the book, The HBCU Experience, the HBCU Warren University Kings, 2nd edition. I appreciate you.
Holla at your boy.
Yes, sir.
It's cool to be smart. You got to stand with me, bro. You can't leave.
Oh, that's my mantra. So I stand with you for sure.
You stand with me. All right, brother. That's it. It's cool to be smart. All right, man. Be easy, brother. Thank you.
All right, listen. So that was dope. Cool to be smart. Y'all tap in with that, all right? So listen, coming up. So y'all know, if you all are familiar with HBCU Pulse and everything like that, graduated from Fort Valley State University, fall 2019, right? So I got out before COVID. I was blessed enough to get out before COVID, right? So this brother I'm about to bring up right now, I met this brother when I was a student leader at Fort Valley, met him at NASAP, then saw him again when I was at the Mr. HBCU conference and competition right before COVID happened. All right. So listen, Damyr Moore, like, this is my dog right here. I've actually not seen him since, I think, about 2020. Yeah, I think February 2020, ironically, last time I saw him, man. So that and this is like this ain't no, this is like really my guy. He was Miss Tennessee State. This is my guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be crazy to see him. I already see him down here. Damyr, how you doing, man?
What's going on, my boy?
Man, I ain't seen you in 4 years, man. How's it been?
Man, tell me about it. It's been a crazy ride. It's so crazy you talking about that. I was just from Minnesota, but man, it's been so long.
It has, and you a contributing author now. I see. You know what I'm saying? You came up in the world, man. Like you got all the money in Cena. You got the money, man.
You know, I do what I can.
I feel it. So listen, like, let's really kick it off, man. I'm super excited to talk to you. I haven't seen you in 4 years, man. So it's gonna be great to catch up here. So before we start, I want you to let everyone know who you are.
All right. So I am Damyr Moore. I served at Mr. Tennessee State University for 2019-2020 academic school year. You know, I was the 29th Mr. Tennessee State University, mass communications major, concentration, integrated marketing. You know, I went on to, win the second runner-up for Mr. HBCU competition, Mr. Oratory, you know. So, you know, I'm just happy to be here.
Yes, man. Yeah, listen, we're gonna get into all of that, man, because because people, I talked to folks from the early 2000s to me. I talked to folks from the 1990s. We had Mr. Shareef that I just spoke to in the building, and then talked to folks like that mid 2000s who were just getting to our HBCUs, right? But it's rare that I talk to folks that I was in school with. So this is a special interview. So let's go on and kick it off like this. I need you to let me know, because you came in to school when I came into school. So what made you choose Tennessee State as your HBCU?
Oh, wow. So what made me choose Tennessee State was, I really wanted to go out of state. I was living in Atlanta. I had just graduated, so I really wanted to go out of state, you know, try something new, you know, venture out. But I didn't have that out of state tuition. So Tennessee State, you know, they had a scholarship that they were offering. So I went ahead and, you know, checked out the campus. I knew somebody who was going there at the time, one of my good friends from high school. And then it just so happened that my roommate, my freshman year, ended up becoming somebody that I had went to high school with, and I didn't know that they was going there. So that was crazy. But so yeah, I went there from the first tour. It was just locked in. Like, I was just like real excited to go. Like, I was really feeling the energy, you know what I'm saying, the atmosphere. So I was just like really eager and just like ready to go. So Tennessee State, you know, they just pulled me in, and I just made the most of it, for real.
Yeah, you did more to make the most of it, man. You made it. That's more than the most. Like, the most, you exceeded the most. It was more than more. All right. So let's talk about your time at Tennessee State. We're gonna go through year by year, right? So freshman year. So you leave Atlanta and you head to Tennessee State. So what was your freshman year like?
Oh my freshman year, that was definitely a fun year. I would say that. Like, freshman year, I was just like, you know, everything was new. I was excited. You know, I was really, you know, just eager to learn, you know, just trying to make sure I went to different seminars that they was having, just trying to see, what the school was about. I tried to like get out of my dorm as much as I could, during the daytime and, at nighttime. So I feel like, just like getting out, just really making the most of your time just really helped me kind of venture out and just kind of like know people from just in passing, speaking to people randomly, just different classes, so freshman year, I was always out at a party, you will find me dancing somewhere, but freshman year, there's nothing like freshman year. I will say that, like, because it's like you have no sense of responsibility for real. You know what I'm saying? Like you, a baby, just leaving home. All you hear is to do right now is just learn and observe. Just try to see what you can do, how you fit in. But one thing about it, I feel like really getting out your dorm and getting out your comfort zone really helped me, strive and become the person I became. Because it's just like, I feel like that was like just a new opportunity to reinvent myself, become the person who, I always was, So it just felt like natural just to, go out and do my thing. And it just worked out well, I feel like.
I feel it. So let's move to sophomore year. So sophomore year, things start really cooking, you know what I'm saying? Cause like we're in like this point in time, like we talking about like, the like 2016, 2017 around that time, right? So what was sophomore year like for you?
So I feel like sophomore year, I definitely kind of got a foot for the campus, definitely became more comfortable. I already had joined my first organization, which was a modeling troupe my freshman year. So that was like kind of gave me like an insight to, like stuff that a typical freshman wouldn't know, just being plugged in and connected with, upperclassmen and stuff like that. And them kind of taking you under, your wing, at such like an early stage in your college career. So once that became a factor, I just kind of navigated and felt like I could do anything, you know what I'm saying? Like modeling just like gave me the confidence to walk in the room with my head up high, just show, not to be afraid to show who I was, So after that, I felt like I definitely became more comfortable sophomore year, but school was always the focus though. Like every day after my class, I would go wait in the library for my other class, get my work done, just trying to be ahead of the game. So when it was time to turn up, time to party, time to do what I had to do, whatever I got practice, I had the time to do it. So school was always a priority though. But sophomore year, I was still kind of enjoying my time, but still kind of being aware of where I might go or what I might do. So yeah, I did think sophomore year definitely kind of pointed me in the direction of where I wanted to go. And after that, everything honestly just like fell into place. Like I really didn't plan for anything too much. Like I genuinely feel like everything that happened was supposed to happen the way it happened, for its own reason. So definitely sophomore year was a year of like focus, but also still maintaining, that playfulness of it. It's like I'm new out here, but I know I can, get where I need to be if I want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, think like this seems like things around that time always fall into place because you start to set up for what that next step is. 'Cause I hear you talk about how being in the modeling organization gave you sort of that confidence to step out and that confidence to be seen. So we're getting to that to the point where we met. We always get to that point. All right. So junior years, tell us about your junior year. What was that like?
So junior year was junior year was definitely like the start of like my SGA experience and everything like that. So like leading into going back to sophomore year, joining Collegiate 100 and being really involved with like giving back, and just like mentorship, just really kind of shifted the focus of like I'm here and I'm having a good time and I'm doing my thing, but I can really have an impact. You know what I'm saying? Because it was really what I wanted to do, and I genuinely enjoy, like working with kids. I was doing that before I even got to school, so it was just like something that naturally kind of happened in it, and it flows. So I was real thankful, to have the brothers there, to be doing positive things with them, So that really kind of transitioned into like, that kicked off junior year, sophomore year early. So then like transitioning to like, going into junior year, it was just like, okay, let me take a little leap of faith. Let me challenge myself, see what I can do, So then like when it came to campaigning, like there was like, you thinking about joining SGA? I had like a lot of friends that were really involved, so they was always just like, what you doing? I know, like, what you thinking about doing? So they was always asking me, but I never really thought about it. So that just kind of like put it in my mind, like, damn, what do I want to do? So once that happened, like junior year, and I campaigned and I won Mr. Junior and everything like that, it really just like charged me up for real. Like that whole experience and like experiencing kings and queens, like, everything was moving so fast, and I'm still, kind of shifting from the frame of like, I'm here, I have a good time, and I'm kind of chilling. But oh snap, we shifting gears. Like we got deadlines, we got things we got to do. You know what I'm saying? We going to conferences. So it was just like a lot of stuff that had to be done. So it just kind of like shifted the gear of like seriousness. Like we here, we campaigned for this, we did this, we asked for this. So just like we put the work in.
So tell us about your campaign during that time, because I was, comparing and contrasting with Mr. Shareef, who was just on, and he said that the Mr. Tennessee State position in like the 1998, 1999 time, around that time, was like a homecoming king position where you smile and wave during homecoming, then you leave. So we know, and I know for a fact with you that, the Mr. Tennessee State had responsibilities, platforms. You had things that you campaigned on that students expected to be done. And of course, the administration expected to be done, the alumni expected to be done. And of course, you did Mr. HBCU and all these other things. So tell us about your campaign that spring, and also like just how it was that time campaigning and all the different stuff. Because we got to remember that was the last campaign before COVID, because COVID changed the whole entire game, even to this day. So you were the last campaign, spring 2019, before COVID. So how was that?
Wow. I mean, okay, so that was like a crazy season, just because like the atmosphere at that time was just like super crazy. I feel like everybody who was campaigning at that time like really wanted it, and, was like really going hard, like trying to think out the box, really spending their money, trying to like think differently, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like a surge of energy that I felt that just kind of like motivated you, honestly, to just like make sure my stuff is done, make sure I'm doing this, make sure I'm on my P's and Q's. Like I was not playing no games. I just wanted to make sure like everything that I had wrote down and that I had planned for, I was actually like able to happen, to the best of my abilities. Like you're not gonna be able to do everything that you want to do, just because of like time, planning different things like that. But I definitely wanted to accomplish most of the things that I had actually planned out and thought on my list, for a campaign season. So I like make sure I turned in myself super early, just to make sure my events were secure, not worried about nobody else. And just honestly, just being out there, being active, like even if your event is over, like you still out there, you still campaigning. Like it really wasn't like an off button for real for that campaign season. And I just felt like you could feel how bad everybody wanted it, and it was just like, everybody was really like involved. I feel like who won, so it was just like they had their whole team, they were super charged up. So I feel like the atmosphere that year was just like crazy. And I feel like everybody went hard and they did what they had to do. And I feel like they really took it seriously. And like, if you really wanted this, and like for the, the top 4 positions, everybody was really on their P's and Q's to make sure that they was on their campaign to the best of their abilities.
So let's talk about NASAP, right? So you campaign and you win Miss Tennessee State. And of course, Jada Crisp wins Miss Tennessee State, right? So then you go to NASAP, all right? I meet you at NASAP. Tennessee State was lit. It was really Tennessee State. It was Bowie. Bowie won best delegation. Primarily, like Roland, like had them charged up. He had everybody charged up. So like Roland, of course, Bowie had to take that home. But Wiley was going crazy that year. Fort Valley, we was doing our thing too, low-key. We was doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was so much going on. That was my first NASAP. I had been, I was a White House HBCU All-Star. So I went to the White House with my cohort. So that wasn't my first gathering of like students. It wasn't as big as NASAP, but it wasn't my first gathering. So, and I'm pretty sure, I think, didn't you go to NASAP and Mr. Junior the year before? Didn't you go? Oh, you didn't go?
That was my first time when I went as Mr. TSU.
Okay, so tell me about that. So that was your first NASAP. So how was that NASAP? And some folks called it BASAP, okay? And we know for reasons why. But tell us about your first NASAP experience.
So NASAP was it was interesting, honestly. It was just kind of weird just because like Jada wasn't there, so I was really just like out there, holding it down, without her. So that was a little different, but we did have the rest of the administration there to back us up. So honestly, it was a great experience. Like just being out there, kind of meeting the different delegations and stuff like that, and just kind of changing the scenery, being on Savannah's campus and everything like that. But NASAP, it was definitely interesting. Like the seminars, the things that they did, definitely kind of helped us build bonds, like the different projects that they had us work on. Like I loved all of that. Like I literally loved all the seminars, the classes that we did, just like learning, just like giving me the knowledge, the tools and things that I needed to carry it on into the reign for when school started. So honestly, like NASAP just honestly put a battery in everybody back. I feel like, just kind of like allowing us to network within ourselves. Like, even if it wasn't about, the reign or a campaign or anything like that, it was about, what business you got going on, what you doing, you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a great experience. And I definitely enjoyed, just seeing like the different schools and like the whole administration, they bring in the energy, you know what I'm saying? Like in the cafeteria, everybody just chanting. Like, it was just like, honestly, like a great experience. And I just was like thinking like, dang, I wish Jada was here to experience this with me. You know what I'm saying? I would have definitely enjoyed myself more, but her not being there honestly allowed me to kind of like, branch out, just stand on my own and just, network and just meet everybody, as me by myself. But I would say, man, NASAP was a great time. Like the things we did, like the video that we shot, I still had that in my phone. Like I still laugh at the bloopers, you know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely something that you remember forever, you know what I'm saying? And then like even the award ceremony and us getting dressed up, having a good time, like the silent headphones, like I remember all of that. Like nothing goes unappreciated, unnoticed, all the hard work that went into that, conference and everything. Like just them giving even the speakers that they brought on, you know what I'm saying? Like putting us in the room with these individuals doing great things, you know what I'm saying? Speaking to us, pouring into us, allowing us to know that, we can really do something with what we got.
Yeah, so if everybody that doesn't know, so NASAP is the National Association of Student Affairs Professionals. They have a student leadership institute called, NASAP Student Leaders Institute, you know what I'm saying? So it's we call it NASAP. And essentially it is like about a week. It's Tuesday, maybe Wednesday to like Sunday. And it's different seminars. It's typically the past few years been held on Savannah State's campus. And this is all the HBCU student leaders that are able to go and able to attend. We just link up, learn, network, have fun, the different blends of HBCU cultures on that one campus. And, our year was actually really lit because like other years they had, they had a rap. I forgot which rapper it was, but like we had Michael Vick. You remember when they were like, y'all got a special guest that's coming, but y'all don't know who it is. And I was asking, I had Shaq Dillon. I interviewed him a few months ago. Like, he was another book. I was like, so who is there? And he was like, well, someone that's like a football player from Georgia. I'm like, is Shannon Sharp there? And I was like, nah, it probably ain't Shannon Sharp because at the time Shannon was on Undisputed. So I'm like, he'd have to hop on the flight and come down. It couldn't be Shannon. And I thought about Michael Vick, but I just didn't say it. Then Michael Vick came in and everybody was like, yo, it's crazy. And then when we eventually found out because they had like the sign at the door. It was like, what, a surprise no more? Because the sign is at the door. Oh, it's Michael Vick's surprise. So like then all of a sudden you can't get in the front row because all the girls is in the front row. They were like, no, we gonna sit right here.
Some personal name.
That was crazy, but like those are just experiences that you have as a student leader. So let's go through some more. So I know you went to King and Queens because y'all was stepping. All right, y'all was stepping. That's one thing. Dr. Tasha Andrews, she a doctor now. That's one thing Dr. Andrews gonna do. Like she gonna make sure y'all step. So tell us about King and Queens.
So Kings and Queens was man, it was just almost unreal. Just from like the planning beforehand that went into this, and just like us taking it seriously. Me having already been there before as Mr. Junior, I kind of knew what to expect because when I went the previous year, I had no idea, you know what I'm saying? I was just kind of like stunned and just in awe. And that is what kind of put me in the mind frame of like, is that something that I want to do? You know what I'm saying? So like just being back, it just really felt good, honestly, to just kind of like to know what to expect and to be there, seeing everybody that I already, previously met, or like the new faces. And just, every time you get in that environment, with people who have the kind of same mind frame as you, working towards the same goals as you, you know what I'm saying? The same spirit, you know what I'm saying? So it just honestly is just like, was nothing like it. Like, it is a slight competition is what I took from, me going previously. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is how this works, and, this and that. But like at the end of the day, everything was love, and everything is love. So from the different seminars that we had that time, like everything was like dope. I remember Rico Love spoke, and just like seeing the same familiar faces, and just knowing that the network that we built there was like the foundation that we were going to take back. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we discussed, we bounced ideas off of each other. We really took the time to like really get to know each other, build a bond. And like, I still talk to some of them people, on a weekly basis, you know what I'm saying? Check in. So it was just like always going to be there. And I feel like Kings and Queens was definitely a good time. And it felt good to kind of like be recognized as, Tennessee State University, like from day one, knowing that like, oh, okay, they're on their P's and Q's, they look good, they sound good, everything was polished. Definitely got to give a big shout out to Ms. Andrews. Definitely came in and she knew what she was doing, you know what I'm saying? She allowed us to kind of like have a space to kind of decide what we wanted to do while still making suggestions, you know what I'm saying? So it really just kind of worked well together, if she believed in what you had to say, or, what you brought to her, then we could run with it. If it wasn't it, we weren't rocking with it. But definitely appreciate, the honesty, the raw honesty, everything about that experience just kind of like, put us on the path of how we wanted to look and how we wanted to present ourselves as a court, how we wanted our reign to go. Just that honestly built the foundation of how we as a court bonded and how we became so close. Just us taking it seriously while still also being able to be there for each other, to support each other, uplift each other, just work together. You know what I'm saying? So like that honestly was just an even better experience the second go around. And it was just really felt good to have, family there to support, me, my TSU family, the Royal Court, all there. So, and it just felt good, on the last day, being recognized. It's really not about the awards, it's about what you take back to your campus and everything like that. But it did feel good to be recognized and appreciated, and to really put the school on the map and kind of set the foundation for what type of year we were about to have. So I really feel like that kind of set the tone, and that kind of made up for like NASAP and me just like observing and like being there by myself. But just like once we had the team together, I was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a great year. We're gonna have a great year. So honestly, everything just kind of like worked out well and did what it was supposed to do. So I really enjoyed that experience. Like definitely Kings and Queens. I feel like what you take there and what you learn there will set the foundation for what you take back to your school forever and always. So I feel like if you take that seriously and you network and you take, time to take notes and really, think about what you want to bring and what you want your legacy to be, it honestly will just take you far, and your whole campus will be, fueled, and they'll feel that same charge.
I love it. I love it. So Hall of Fame happened as well, and Jada went there, and Jada got first runner up. Like that was a crazy experience. She did that, and it was so interesting. We're gonna move to Mr. HBCU but Hall of Fame is such a big part of it. We're gonna move to Mr. HBCU, but I thought that was so dope that you have Jada that gets first runner up at Hall of Fame, and then you got like what you got second runner up, right? You got second runner up so for Mr. HBCU, and then both of y'all ate up like the oratory. So we moved to Mr. HBCU. So I gotta say this, right? So like I was with Hall of Fame, I was their first ever alumni ambassador. I got it right after I graduated from Fort Valley. This is literally before COVID, because we were like a month before COVID, because after that it was over. COVID was probably in the building with us. Oh, you realize that COVID was probably there kicking it with y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is right before COVID. So like I come in that Friday, it's in like St. Louis. It is cold as I don't know what out there. Like it was colder now, but it was cold as I don't know what out there. I go to the hotel, and you know me, I ain't no like person that's gonna run up people or nothing like that. I'm just sort of going to just see what's going on, you know, see what's happening, and you know, I'm just gonna do what I do. So I saw the folks. I was in that room, that ballroom, like playing cards and talking and different stuff like that. Folks strolling and different stuff like that. The first person I talked to was you. You was like, "Yo, what's up, Randall?" Like I was you were the first person. It was you. Then of course Taylor Walker, my girl Taylor. You know what I'm saying? We sat down, we chopped it up. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. HBCU, it seemed like just such a different vibe. And it was something that seemed different from NASAP. And of course, it was a smaller situation. It wasn't as many schools that were there, but you had a lot of the Kings that were there, and you all had a really close bond that year. So tell us about your experience at Mr. HBCU.
Yeah, Mr. HBCU was a great experience. Like you said, it was brick, so cold, St. Louis. But it was a great experience. I drove down there, so that was even more time for us to bond. And then just getting there, honestly, I feel like having such a small group allowed us to be so close, just because it wasn't a lot going on. Granted, we did have seminars and stuff like that, but it was definitely like more intimate, and it was like kind of the same group moving together versus like different sessions breaking up and stuff like that. And then allowing the queens to kind of do their own thing and just like kind of let us to bond as men just kind of allowed us to kind of open up and just be vulnerable and just kind of learn about each other, learn about ourselves. And just honestly, like the competition was always in the back of your mind, but I feel like the seminars and the stuff that we learned and what we talked about, it really didn't have to do with the competition. It was about, us bonding, getting to know each other, really pouring into ourselves as African-American men. So it was a great experience, just, getting a chance to build that bond with them and those seminars. And I really enjoyed, the intimacy of it, just us being so small. And moving on to like the night that you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what I was wearing. Like, just allowing them to do something like that for us on our last day, just to kind of take the pressure off and allow everybody to kind of just relax and really enjoy themselves and not even think about the competition. So that was really something dope that I really am thankful that they allowed us to do and everything like that. I had definitely had a blast. It was definitely a good time. And then just as far as the competition, I feel like I came in there prepared, just rehearsing like in the mirror, making sure I was on my P's and Q's as far as like memorizing it, making sure I knew what I looked like while I was saying it. That's why it's important to, practice in the mirror. But I definitely felt confident coming in and just tried to my best to not let it like psych me out, not to think about it too much. It was just like, this is something that you've been doing, you've been working towards this, you know what you're doing, the lines. So just like relax. So, I feel like if you have that confidence, you carry that into the pageant, then it allows you to sit there and actually enjoy the experience without being stressed and thinking about, oh, competition is in this many days. So definitely, was great doing the pageant, seeing everybody's different talents that I didn't even, know that they could do. And just like watching it back, definitely I can like watch that whole thing back and still like enjoy watching that, just to see everybody, pour their hearts out on the stage and, showcase a different side of themselves. Definitely was a great experience. And I will say that, hard work definitely pays off. So as long as you like doing what you have to do and, working towards your goal, like you could definitely like become the winner of it.
I love that. So before we talk about your chapter in the book, The HBCU Experience, the HBCU Royal University King second edition, want to ask you about this because we talk about the COVID element of it, right? So that was literally a month before COVID because it was declared officially a pandemic, at least in America. It was already a pandemic around the nation, but they declared it a pandemic in America around mid-March. Around, I think I would say March 15th, March 16th, around that time. That's when Trump did the press conference and declared it a national emergency. And then after that, just like things start to lock down. And that was around spring break time for you all because I already had graduated. So like tell us about that. So you go from that moment when you're at Mr. HBCU, you got second runner up, you're around your brother Kings and all these different things. You got the NASAP experience, you got the Hall of Fame experience, you had the football games that you walked at. Then COVID happened. So tell us about that.
Man, just going back to the competition, I was even sick, like while practicing, like going to the competition, like, and it was just like, oh, well, you need to make sure you get better, doing what you have to do, like cough drops, everything. So just like going in, like the competition, like I was definitely like going through it, but like doing what I had to do and like fighting through it. So that's even crazy thinking about that. But like as far as like COVID, you right, you come with the facts. Like we was on spring break. I was enjoying my spring break in Miami and everything. And then that's when like it just got real. And it was just like, oh, like when we get back to school, like things is gonna be different. So it was just like definitely going back like with a whole bunch of questions, like and just not knowing what to expect, you know, what was really going on. It was honestly like something like we've never seen before. We never thought, you know, honestly, it didn't feel real. And when I remember we went back to school, they were like, oh, it's not a real thing. We gonna be able to get over it. We gonna be able to finish out the school year. And I remember one of my sisters was like, my sister worked for the CDC, this and that. She said this is gonna go get worse. People gonna be buying groceries. So it was really like a lot going on. You didn't know what to believe, and a lot of people didn't know what we were going to do. But like the university, they had like the town hall meeting with us, and we're like letting us know how we're going to do moving forward. But at the end of the day, you know, they couldn't really control, you know, the outbreak or anything like that. So it was just like what they had planned to do kind of didn't work out. So, you know, everybody ended up going home. And it was honestly just like real sad. I'm gonna be honest, it was real sad just to kind of like have it cut, you know, so short, just because like it wasn't the end. Granted, we were like getting towards the end, but you know, just to be able to close out the chapter the right way, you know, finishing things that you know you started, you know, graduation, everything like that. So honestly, I feel like that was a time that definitely had a major effect on, you know, college graduates everywhere, for the 2019-2020 academic school year. Just kind of like having everything kind of like taken away so quickly, honestly, just like prepared us for the real world of just like, you know, nothing is certain. You know what I'm saying? Granted, you might work towards these things. You might think something's going to work out this way, but you just never know. So that was honestly like the biggest lesson, just stepping outside of, the college life into like reality in the real world. So it was definitely like something I think probably still affects, you know, most of us to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll never get that time back. Me, I feel like I was so I was so upset about not having a graduation for so long. Like I just recently honestly got over that, you know, just because you work so hard for something, you know, an end goal, and just to not have it, you know, you'll never get that back. So it just like, you know, everybody wants their family there to see them at the end, you know, to celebrate them and everything that they accomplished, you know, that they met the end goal. But, you know, things don't work out that way. So you just really gotta keep moving. But like COVID was crazy. And then honestly, just trying to push through and finish that year virtually, you know what I'm saying, while still being Mr. Tennessee State, you know, in a way, because, you know, it hasn't been passed over. So just like we still, you know, trying to, you know, create some type of atmosphere to close out the year. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, even though we home, we still together, but also still kind of trying to figure out what the next move is. So just like, I'm not, you know, Mr. Tennessee State University anymore. So it just like, was just kind of like weird transitioning from that, you know, during the COVID time. Cause it's just like, you trying to figure out what your next move is while still trying to, you know, make sure that, you know, your HBCU family is good and that everything, you know, over there is working out smoothly. But yeah, COVID was crazy. I feel like that experience for us at that time, you know, it was just something that we'll always talk about. We'll always know how we felt at that time, you know, how it kind of affected us, how we got over it and stuff like that. So I feel like, you know, that's just something that we kind of live with, knowing now, you know, nothing is promised, you know, anything can happen, uncertainty, you know, you just got to go for it.
Right. So like that's just crazy just to think about, because that's been 4 years ago. And it's crazy just think about it, that like life was different. And I even just was thinking about it as you spoke. We saw the last sort of normal element of college life, because I don't think it'll ever be the same. I mean, I think maybe eventually, like eventually I would say maybe as we move into maybe 2025, 2026, I think things will go to a pre-2019 or pre-spring 2020 level. But there's even hesitancy of being around big crowds now. There's some folks that decide I'm not gonna go to homecoming. It's too many folks that's there. You know what I'm saying? So like it's different things. Like it's ways that the institutions are rebounding from that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's crazy. And then the dichotomy of February, the start of February to like the end of January, start of February, like we're there because I came that Friday. We're there at Mr. HBCU, and everybody like leaves that Sunday, and then that literally that next month, it's crazy wall to wall coverage on CNN, MSNBC about COVID. Dr. Fauci's out there talking about it. It was just a crazy time, man. So I already know that all of this different stuff we talked about is in your chapter in the book, The HBCU Experience, the HBCU Royal University Kings, second edition, holding it down for the 2019 student leaders. You feel me? Making it happen. All right. So tell us about your chapter in the book.
Honestly, when I was writing the chapter, it was just me thinking about what I wanted somebody to take from it while reading it. So I really just wanted to be as honest as I could while still being as authentic as I could, and just like kind of giving somebody the confidence and a little bit of the blueprint of how to, matriculate or, move on and elevate yourself to something that you might want to accomplish or something that you might want to do, or like securing a platform. So definitely talked about the experiences that we talked about, tonight, like the different conferences, and the different steps of how I gained, a little bit of the confidence that allowed me to become Mr. TSU. And honestly, just thinking about what I would have wanted somebody to tell me if I asked them what they thought I could do or how I could accomplish this end goal. So that's mainly what my chapter is about, and just being authentic as I can. Definitely had to shorten it. It was so much I wanted to put in there, but I just tried to highlight the important parts and like really drop a couple gems in there just to, make somebody else feel charged up, put a battery in their back, instill that same confidence in them and everything like that. So definitely allowed me to dip back into my writing bag with creating the chapter. So that definitely motivated me to start writing again for sure. So this was just a great experience, just getting all that out. Definitely motivated me to kind of write something else. So definitely I would say anybody just thinking about doing something, trying something new, definitely go out there and just do it. You know what I'm saying? Because like now, with that experience, it gives you the confidence to kind of like go out and do it on your own, or put the idea of like, maybe I can write my own book one day, and not just a chapter. So definitely enjoyed doing this. I'm excited for everybody to see what I had to say, accept the gems that I have to offer, and just hopefully, just help somebody else to do what they want to do.
I love that, man. Listen, you already know the student leaders that was at NASAT, that was at King and Queens, that was at Hall of Fame, that was at Mr. HBCU your year. Everybody, and NASAT was a lot of folks at NASAT. All right, so the book should be a bestseller off NASAT alone. Okay, if everybody from NASAT by one.
They brought the whole administration. They had their own bus. You know what I'm saying? So they brought everybody. Plus everybody. A different administration. So I'll definitely love that. Not just meeting the royal court or, the whole administration, seeing what your position is about and seeing, how I can take from you and how you can take from me. So definitely.
Yeah, like everybody that Damyr has met in his journey as Mr. Tennessee State, buy the book. All right, it's coming soon. All right, we're gonna have the date soon. Because all them folks, because one thing I know, at least I hope, because some folks have unfollowed them back at this point. But all them folks still better follow Pulse, okay? So they gonna know the date. They should know. This not like, oh, well, I didn't know what HBC Pulse was. No, them folks, it's only been 5 years ago, or six, man, it might have been 6. No, Yeah, it's been 5 years ago. 5 years ago at this point. In May, it's gonna be 5 years. So it ain't been that long. Some of us ain't even 30 yet. All right. I just turned 27 on Christmas. So some of us ain't even 30 yet. All right. So everybody should know and remember Damyr and go get the book. All right. That's what I gotta say, Damyr. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get the book. In the first chapter we read is your chapter. Real talk. We read your chapter first, man. But listen, before you go, so everyone where they can find you on social media, and really, how can we support you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Damyr, 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 at Damyr. And just honestly, just stay tuned. Definitely got a lot of things coming up for 2024. 2024 is just a great year. I feel like everybody kind of feels the energy for 2024. I advise everybody just kind of put negativity out their mind, naysayers, anything like that. Go after what you're trying to do. 2024 is definitely going to be a great year. So I say stay tuned in. I'm going to be traveling a lot more. Actually need to finish packing now. I'm going to be leaving Atlanta soon. So definitely just a lot of different things, a lot of different transitions happening for 2024. So just stay plugged in, stay tuned in. Definitely going to have a lot of things to support. A lot of different short films and stuff like that coming up. So I definitely want everybody to stay locked in and see what the boy got working.
Listen, we're going to make sure that we do that, man. Listen, man, Damyr, I'm proud of you, bro. You're doing your thing. Keep making it happen. You putting Georgia on, man. Like, listen, they sleep on us, man. They sleep on Georgia. But we're making it happen, man. So I appreciate you coming on, man. And yeah, man, we're ready to read the book, The HBCU Experience, the HBC Royal University Kings, second edition, man. But I appreciate you, Damyr.
No problem, Randall. Keep doing your thing, man. You've been working. I see you still working. Keep the hustle going. Keep the network going. Like, it's just crazy to see where you started and where you're going and, you know, how far you come. And I just want to say a big shout out to you for even doing something like this, you know, giving us the platform to even come and, you know, promote the book and stuff like that. So I just want to say a big shout out to you, Randall, for holding it down. Keep doing your thing, and as much love, you know, and I'm still rocking with you as long as, you know, you doing it. All right.
Yes, man. I appreciate you, man. And like I said, I never forget when I went to Miss HBCU and I went in that room, first person that I spoke to, man, you was like, wait, what? You was like, wait, what you doing?
I was like, my boy got global media coverage. He everywhere. He in the I'm here. I was like, that was dope. It was real good seeing you. And I was just like, he on his P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't let up yet.
Man, listen, trying to, man. But listen, same to you, man. Listen, keep shining, keep grinding, man. I appreciate you, Damyr.
All right, much love. Be easy, man.
All right, man.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to hbcupulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.